And in this lesson I will go through the wave texture. And the wave texture is of course really good to create patterns that are like wood or things like water ripples and so on. Then you can use wave texture. And it has a color output and it has a vector output, and they are the same, so it doesn't matter that you have a color output right now in the wave texture here. So the first thing is something that I'm a little bit annoyed about when it comes to wave texture, and that is the scale. The scale here is very strange because normally for all other textures in Blender it's really useful. You can put the scale to 1, and if you use UV and put that in, you can see that yes, it's 1, everything works fine. You get 1 square or you get 1 sphere or whatever it is. But if you put scale to 1 here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 lines almost, and 3 different tiles or wood pieces, or what you want to call them. So if you want 1, then you have to do some math between this. So I can do that first of all. So Shift A, input, and the texture coordinate like this. And if I now connect the UV, you can see it's the same here. So I need to have some math between here. So if I take and select the vector math and put in the scale here, you can see it increases or decreases here. And the thing here is if I take pi, which is this, and then divide it by 10, like that, then you get what I want to have in the wave texture. So the value of pi divided by 10 will give you 1 tile, so to say, in the wave texture. So if I now put in 2 here, I get 2, and if I put in 10, I get 10 lines, which is something that makes sense. So I'm really irritated about that, but now leave it and we will go into the wave texture so we can see what it is. So in the wave texture you have 2 options. You can select bands or you can select rings. And you might see that, okay, it changed it to something, but it doesn't look like rings. And that is because if I run it with spherical, you get like spherical things. But if I run X or Y, it's supposed to work together with cubes or with cylinders to create logs. So if I now create a cube out of this, so I press Shift A, mesh, cube, so I have a cube, and then use my material here and use the rings for that one, and use generated here, you can see now that it is cutting everything just in this direction here. So it cuts in the X direction. So then we have this log here, and then with the Y direction it does the same in this direction. So it does create rings with the use of Y and X. It's just that you need to use something that is in 3 dimension instead of 2 dimension to make it happen. If you only use 2 dimension, then you use spherical instead, so you get spherical on each direction here, as you can see. So that is the rings, and the lines are, as I said before, bands. So it bands in different direction, and it works. So if you have in X, it's only in direction like this, and then you just get one simple color here on the X side and on the X side here, since the changes is only in the Y direction. And if you use the Y, then it's on the other direction, and if you use the Z, then you get it going up and down, but nothing in the X and Y direction. So that is how that works. If I take down the scale to like 3, or something like that, and go to the next thing to show. Then we can go back to my plane. It's easier to see, so I just delete my cube and then I select my plane here, so I have it in, and let's see, it felt like it was something happened, but now we are back here, and if I go to this, put this to scale here, put it to UV, yeah, we can't use the Z-axis, that's why I can't see anything. So we have changed this to like X-axis just to go through it. Okay, so then we have the scale, as I said, and you have now understood that this scale has like pi value in here. And then you have the distortion, which then bends the line a bit. And if you bend them really, really much, then it's no more waves in a common way, it's more like noise here. So in some ways you can use this wave texture not as a wave texture, but just distort it really much. The details, right now you can see it's just one line that is getting distorted, but if you increase the detail, you scatter all these small pieces of the line as well. So if you increase the detail, you also increases how much scatter you will have around. So let's say that you have made wood planks, then you perhaps would like to have some dust or dirt between the edges, then it's good to have some higher detail here. And then you can control the scale of that detail, and you can see that there is a lot happening, because it will then take everything here, or it's more like it looked like dot in the beginning here, because everything is so blurry. But if you take up the scale, you can see it's really bending the same line in different ways here. So that is how the detail scale works, and then you can use the roughness here to then bend that line even more. So now it looks really silly, but that is because the distortion is so high. So if I then take down the distortion just to a small amount and use this detail scale here, then it looks more like it should be. So detail together with detail scale gives this dirt, so to say, around our bands here. So, and then you have the phase offset, it's just to move these lines a bit, so you can use that. And you can change this, as I said, to Y direction as well. It will work in the Y direction. Of course, if you put in something in the math here, the Y and the X will not work anymore. It will follow what you have as a calculation here. And that means that what I normally do when I want to visualize some math is that I put this to diagonal, and then I start to do math here and put that in, and you will then get that math out. So the reason that it's diagonal right now is just because it's take just the X and the Y and add them together, and then you get this diagonal, as I think I have shown you before, or if not, you will see it later on. So if I want to do something when it comes to math and show it, visualize, then I use the wave texture. So let's do some example. Very simple, just pressing Shift A, and then I can take my converter and my vector math in here, so I have something. And if I now use a multiply, you can see here that I can then change, so it's not the correct diagonal all the way. It can be straight line, or it can be whatever. And I can also split this by separate X, Y, Z, and do separate math for the X and separate math for the Y axis, and get out the result here. So it's a really good way to just demonstrate how everything should look after I've done some math with the vectors that come from UV or the object. Then we have this sign here, and that is how every band or line are visualized. So if I put the distortion to 0, I can put that to 0 as well, and that to 0, so we don't have any disturbance, and we just take the UV to this, and we change this to X or Y, so we have something in. So now this doesn't matter anymore because it's about the distortion and the detail. But if we look right now, you can see that we have dark here, then it goes really soft, and then it goes down to dark again. And that is the sign. And if I now change this to saw, it's more like a fraction or modular operation. So we start with something that is dark, and then it goes to be brighter, and then it suddenly stops, and it starts with the next, and with then 0 value or dark value, and then goes to 1, and then start the next one. So now it's not some round thing, it's more like going from nothing up to maximum, and then it drops totally. And the final is triangle, and that is more like pipes. As you can see, it goes almost like a triangular shape, so you have really dark here, and then you get the maximum in the top here, and then you get down here, so you get a sharper line in the middle here, and that is almost like a reflection feeling of everything here. So if you're doing, as I said, a simulation of a pipe or something like that, then triangle works really good. And when it comes to the rings here, then you can see that they start in the center here. So as normal, if you want them in the real center in here, then you of course need to move it or use the object here to place it in the correct way, in the same way as you do with the gradient texture, for instance, as I've shown in an earlier session. And it's not more to say about this wave texture. It's rather simple, but it's very useful. So hopefully you have learned something about the wave texture as well. And in the next chapter I will take the last texture, which is the white noise texture, and I will do some repetition with the white noise texture in later sessions as well, because we use it a lot to produce stuff. But now I'm talking about the next chapter. So for now I'm just saying bye here, and we see you in the next.